This is who every female AEW wrestler is dating or married to, and at the end, I'll reveal who is single. Skye Blue has stunned AEW fans ever since her debut. I'm sorry to say, but she's off the market. Since 2023, Skye's been in a relationship with another member of the AEW roster, and that would be Kyle Fletcher. The couple often shares photos together, and it looks like they have a great relationship. Anna Jay is one of AEW's most popular female stars, and she's currently in a relationship with perhaps the company's most controversial wrestler, Jack Perry, formerly known as Jungle Boy. The two announced in 2021 that they were dating, and as far as we know, they're still together. The couple doesn't post much about each other on social media, but they may just want to keep that private. Julia Hart is one of the youngest wrestlers on the AEW roster. That said, she is not only in a relationship, but is also a wife. In October 2023, it was made official that Hart had married fellow AEW wrestler Lee Johnson, aka Big Shotty. While they are husband and wife, Julia and Lee's relationship hasn't been used for any storylines on TV. While Kiera Hogan isn't married, she is in a relationship. Since 2019, Kiera's been dating fellow AEW wrestler Diamante. They are the only female wrestlers in AEW who are married to each other and often post pictures of themselves together on social media. Diamante has even said that Kiera Hogan helped her feel comfortable with her sexuality. Penelope Ford was one of the first women to be signed to AEW, and she got signed at the same time as her ex-boyfriend, Joey Janela. The two had broken up in late 2018, but Ford still accompanied Janela for the very first AEW event, Double or Nothing, in 2019. However, sometime afterward, Penelope Ford began dating Kip Sabian, also an AEW wrestler. The two got engaged in April 2020 and actually had their wedding on AEW TV, although in true wrestling fashion, it didn't go according to plan. Ford would get pregnant with the couple's first child, but sadly suffered a miscarriage in 2022. AEW's only female referee, Aubrey Edwards, doesn't share much about her private life. She has said that she is bisexual and that she is married to an independent wrestler named Dante Smythe. Speaking of Smythe, his Instagram is different. Nyla Rose is the first transgender wrestler to be signed to a major wrestling company. Rose doesn't share much about her personal life, and it was indirectly revealed who Nyla's wife was. During an AEW show, a fan holding a sign directed at Nyla Rose was ejected. This led to a tweet from Kel Rose, who revealed she was Rose's wife. Not much has been shared about the couple, but it appears they've been together for a while. Before she was Ty Mello in AEW, she was Tainara Cunty in WWE. However, before her career could really get going, budget cuts from the COVID-19 pandemic caused her to get released from the company. But when one door closes, another opens, and that door read AEW. That's also where Mello met her husband. Ty and Sammy Guevara began dating in January 2022 and got engaged later that year. Then, at the Double or Nothing pay-per-view in 2023, the couple announced that they were expecting their first child. On November 28, 2023, Mello and Guevara welcomed a baby girl named Luna Mello Guevara. One of the freakiest wrestlers on the AEW roster, men's or women's, is Abaddon. The Living Dead girl does have a husband, but not much is known about him, including his name. What we do know is that he's just as freaky and twisted as Abaddon. Madison Rayne stands out among the AEW roster simply because she's been wrestling for 20 years. She got married in 2011, but divorced in 2013. However, 2 years later, Rayne remarried, this time to wrestling commentator and producer Josh Matthews. The two got together while they were working for TNA and have stayed together ever since. While the couple doesn't have any children together, Madison Rayne does have a daughter from her previous marriage, who will be turning 15 in 2025. Mercedes Martinez is another veteran on the AEW women's roster, with 2.5 decades of experience. Outside of the ring, Martinez is lesbian and married. Not much is known about Martinez's wife, but the couple does have a son who was born in 2008. It's unclear though if he is Mercedes Martinez's biological son or adopted. Camille is a standout in any women's roster. Ironically, she dated someone who is also a standout among the men's roster. In 2014, before Camille had even begun training to be a wrestler, she had started a relationship with Braun Strowman. However, after dating for several years, Camille and Strowman broke up. Sometime after though, Camille did become a married woman. In 2022, Camille shared that she had married NWA wrestler Tom Latimer, also known as Bram in TNA. It's no secret that Taya Valkyrie is married to Johnny TV, aka John Morrison. They met while wrestling for Lucha Underground and have been married since 2018. In AEW, the two are often seen together and even produced a show.
Papa loves Mambo, Christmas loves Mariah, but no one loves like Johnny loves Taya.
While she may not be a wrestler, Alicia Atout, a member of AEW's broadcast team, is dating one. In 2023, Atout started a relationship with MJF. Judging from their photos together, MJF seems to keep things pretty lively. Toni Storm became All Elite in 2022, but took her career to the next level when she became Timeless Toni Storm. Outside the ring, Storm is married to Juice Robinson, another wrestler on the AEW roster. The two made their relationship known in 2020, during which Toni Storm also came out as bisexual. About 2 years after making the relationship public, Storm and Robinson tied the knot and became wife and husband. Formerly known as Ember Moon, Athena has been dominant in AEW by becoming the longest reigning Ring of Honor Women's Champion. Outside of the ring, Athena is married, and her husband, Matthew Palmer, is also a wrestler. In fact, he actually proposed to Athena in a wrestling ring. Palmer mainly works in the independent scene, but did wrestle a handful of matches in TNA. Maybe we'll see him join his wife in AEW someday. The Magic Girl, Yuka Sakazaki, may or may not be with someone. Rumors have circulated that she's either dating or married to fellow AEW and Japanese wrestler Konosuke Katashita. However, both wrestlers haven't acknowledged whether or not they're in a relationship. Big shocker, but Karen Jarrett is married to Jeff Jarrett. What might actually surprise you though is that Karen was previously married to another wrestling legend. In 1998, Karen got married to Kurt Angle and had 2 children together. However, during their marriage, Karen got romantically linked with Jeff Jarrett while both he and Kurt Angle were working for TNA. This is what led to Karen and Angle's divorce. In 2010, Karen got engaged and married to Jeff Jarrett, and the couple have been together ever since, although they don't have any children together. In addition to all her accomplishments in the ring, Ruby Soho, formerly known as Ruby Riott in WWE, can also add wife and mother to that list. In 2024, she married fellow AEW wrestler Angelo Parker, and later that year, Soho and Parker welcomed their first child, a girl named Evie. Deonna Purrazzo is a very experienced wrestler, having competed for WWE, TNA, and Ring of Honor before joining All Elite Wrestling. In 2020, she began dating fellow wrestler Steve Macklin, aka Steve Cutler, when they were both in WWE together. In 2022, the couple tied the knot and got married. Years later, they still seem to be in their honeymoon phase, and Purrazzo even shares fun videos of her teaching her husband history. Jamie Hayter has been pretty private about her life outside of the ring. While she hasn't shared much, we do know she has a boyfriend. In a now deleted post, Mark Henry, who had been working for AEW as a coach, replied to a tweet about Jamie Hayter saying, "I love her and her boyfriend. Great people." Beyond that, Hayter hasn't shared much about a relationship. Before becoming a backstage interviewer for AEW, Renee Paquette, or Renee Young, got her wrestling career started in WWE. That's where she met her husband, Dean Ambrose. After a few years of dating, the couple got married in 2017. However, Ambrose would leave WWE in 2019 and join AEW, where he changed his name to Jon Moxley. About a year later, the couple announced that they were adding a new member to their family. In June 2021, Renee Paquette and Moxley announced they had welcomed a baby girl named Nora. Queen Aminata is the first African-born woman to sign with a major wrestling company, being born in Guinea and immigrating to the US in 2013. Her husband, Manju Keita, is also from Guinea. Keita is a retired footballer or soccer player and was even the captain of Guinea's national football team. Queen Anita and her husband haven't shared a ton about their relationship, but the couple does have 2 children together, a boy and a girl. Before arriving in AEW, Layla Gray made a name for herself in Ohio Valley Wrestling. That's also where she met her partner. Gray is currently engaged to Luke Curtis, an independent wrestler who works primarily for Ohio Valley. The couple even vlogged together on Layla's YouTube channel. Before even stepping foot in a wrestling ring, Thunder Rosa already had a wedding ring around her finger. In 2006, Rosa married a man named Brian Cervantes. While he isn't a wrestler, he did launch a wrestling company with his wife in Texas called Mission Pro Wrestling. In addition to running Mission Pro, Rosa's husband is also the student body president at Laney College in Oakland, California. Outside of business, the couple also have a son who will turn 20 years old in 2025. Prior to wrestling, Marina Shafir made her name in MMA. Her first steps into the squared circle happened in WWE, but she's made the biggest impact in AEW. However, before all that, Shafir got engaged in 2015 to fellow wrestler Roderick Strong. Shafir gave birth to the couple's first child in 2017, and about a year later, Marina Shafir and Strong tied the knot and got married. AEW backstage interviewer Lexi Nair has been in a relationship with Big Bill, formerly formerly known as Big Cass in WWE, since 2021. The couple got serious in 2022 when they got engaged and then married 2 years later in late 2024 in Mexico. I kind of wonder if Enzo Amore was the wedding official. Speaking of the AEW broadcast team, ring announcer Arcady Ora is married and also has a son. Ora's husband isn't a wrestler, but man, does he look like he could be. Rebel's wrestling career is interesting since she didn't get into the business until she was in her mid-30s. She made her debut in TNA and eventually joined AEW in 2019. Rebel was supposed to work just behind the scenes as a hair and makeup stylist, but later got the opportunity to perform on TV. As for her relationship, Rebel had been dating TNA producer James Lawn, who now works as a director of production for WWE. However, it's not clear if the two are still together or not. Red Velvet has been part of the AEW roster for almost 5 years, but has recently been spending more time in their sister company, Ring of Honor. Outside the squared circle, Velvet has been dating second-generation wrestler Wes Briscoe. The couple even got engaged, but split before saying their I do's. Since 2022, Red Velvet has been in a relationship with Chandler Hopkins, an independent wrestler who wrestled a number of matches in AEW from 2021 to 2022. Megan Bayne didn't do a ton in AEW during her first few years with the company, but she has been making some noise since her return in January 2025. Outside of the ring, Bayne hasn't shared much about her private life, but she is currently dating former AEW wrestler Joey Janela. Like a lot of wrestlers on the AEW roster, Will Nightingale's spouse is also a wrestler. His name is Rex Lawless, and he primarily competes on the independent wrestling circuit. He has also wrestled a handful of matches in AEW and even won in WWE, where he got squashed by Veer Mahan.
Smashing Loman into the corner. The wind up.
Now, here are all the female AEW wrestlers who are single or haven't shared their relationship status. Mercedes Mone, formerly known as Sasha Banks, had previously been in a relationship with WWE costume designer and former wrestler Sarah Tunn, and they got married in 2016. However, in 2020, the couple quietly separated and kept it a secret for several years. The reason was that Mone, who was in WWE then, was worried about how the company might turn the situation into a storyline on TV. After leaving WWE and joining AEW in 2024, Mercedes Mone and Sarah Tunn officially divorced. Mone said that she and Tunn still have a great relationship and that he changed and saved her life. Since then, Mercedes Mone hasn't shared that she has seen anyone and appears to be single. Harley Cameron had been married. In 2018, Cameron was dating fellow Australian and wrestler Daniel Vidot, better known as Zion Quinn in WWE. Vidot proposed to Cameron on their final night in Australia before they moved to the United States. They stayed married until 2024. During a virtual signing, Harley shared that they had split and that she wished her ex-husband well. Since then, Harley Cameron has either remained single, or if she has a new partner, she hasn't shared it yet. Britt Baker has been a cornerstone of AEW's women's division since the company launched. It was well known that she was dating Adam Cole, who was actually part of AEW's rival, WWE, for a while. However, in 2021, Cole became All Elite, and he and Britt Baker became the power couple of All Elite Wrestling. But in 2024, Baker and Cole announced they had broken up. Despite that, they still love and support each other as friends. Chris Statlander is currently single as far as we know, but she was previously in a relationship. Statlander had been dating an independent wrestler named Caleb Conley, and the two even lived together in Charlotte, North Carolina until they broke up. Serena Deeb, who you may remember as being part of the Straight Edge Society in WWE, hasn't shared if she's in a relationship or if she's single. Likewise, both Emi Sakura and Riho haven't shared anything about having significant others. Hikaru Shida's relationship status is unknown too, but that hasn't stopped rumors. One of them was that she was married to Major League Baseball player Shohei Ohtani, but that was confirmed to be false. Rumors also speculated that Shida was dating fellow AEW star Kenny Omega. This likely isn't true, although it has been neither confirmed nor denied. Mariah May appears to be single as well. At one point, she was in a relationship with British independent wrestler Danny Dugan. However, they haven't posted anything on social media in a while, and videos of them together have been made private. May hasn't shared anything about having a partner, so it's assumed she is single. Mother Wayne, or Shayna Wayne, is, as you would expect, the mother of AEW wrestler Nick Wayne. She is also a widow, having been married to wrestler Buddy Wayne from 1985 up until his sudden death in 2017. Shayna hasn't shared anything about marrying or being in a new relationship, so it's assumed she isn't seeing anyone. Soraya, formerly known as Paige in WWE, is currently single. She had been dating Ronnie Radke, the lead singer of the band Falling in Reverse. The couple got together in 2018, but in December 2024, they broke up. Prior to that, Paige had been dating dating former WWE champion Alberto Del Rio. Unfortunately, it ended very badly. To find out what happened and how to prevent Del Rio from returning to WWE, watch the video on screen.